let's reverse a string. So one of the possible options which people have given is, there are many. That's why I give this question. People could do it with whatever they felt comfortable with. So let's try to explore all the options. So first option is, let's say there is no reverse function as such in the string class. So I cannot call a reverse function name dot reverse. There is no, but there is a reverse function in the string buffer. So what we'll have to do is convert this string into a string buffer. Okay, so let's say, and when I make a class and I try to make the object with the same name, if not used, just call it buffer. Okay, let's call it buffer is new. There is no string literal for string buffer. How we have string literal for string? There is no string. There is no literal. So there is no string literal like this. That you make a string buffer using string literal. Not possible. You have to make a object for string buffer. And then let's pass the same string which we have made. Okay, and then we have, yeah, okay, let me just do this and I'll give you the chance. And then buffer dot reverse, we have the option over here. So this is the simplest one, but this is using a predefined function. So in the interview might say not using predefined function. Then as second one, as Tariq had said, that we made a new string reverse name, and then he iterated through. So now I'm not using the string buffer. So then he has iterated to the entire string. So you can say for integer I equals to 0. Let's start on the reverse, right? So name dot length, but length will give me 5, which is the first index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my will start from 1 minus, right? And then till my I is greater than or equal to 0 and I minus minus. And what will we do? We'll take the name dot char at index I, and we will just concatenate it to reverse name. So we can say, or we can just say reverse name equals to reverse name plus. Okay, what is the variable name? Okay, capital name. Name is capital. Reverse name. And then when I come and sys out reverse name, I get the reverse string. This also is possible. I get the output. But if the interviewer says without using predefined function, and he says also without making a second string, without using a second string, now how will you do it? So someone has done it, right? Is sharing a screen. Let's check. Yes, sir. Please share a screen. Tariq has tried it using without using a second. So how has he done it? You are just displaying. You are just displaying that. You haven't converted it into a second string. Now tell me, what is the length of the reverse string? Will be saved as the original string. Okay. Which is the character at the first index of the reverse string? No, in the reverse string. If I want to check the character at the first index, how will you check that? You are just displaying, you are not storing it into any string. If I want to do any operation on the reverse string, then it is not possible for you. Okay. So now what we can do is we can stop sharing. So yeah. So what now we can do is without using the third string also. So what you can do now, you have your original string Alice. Okay. Now this is your traditional for loop. Okay. We also have the enhanced for loop, which will take one character. So here you have to always go till the length and everything. Okay, but I guess it will not make sense over here. So let's do the norm. Now let's try to do without predefined function, without second string. So I'll run a loop from, let's say, the normal traditional for loop, I equal to 0, I less than name dot length, and I plus plus. So if my string is jar or Raj, where is my R at? Where is my I at? Which index? So my I is at index 0, correct? I is at 0 index. So what I'll do is I'll replace this I. Okay, I'll put the J at the last character. J will be at which character? I'll take two variables. So I will have I equal to 0, and I'll take integer j equals to name dot length. Okay, j equal to name dot length minus 1. Correct? So where is I now? I is at which index? 0 index. And j is at which index? Which is index 2, right? Now swap these two characters now. What you do? Swap A with J. How will I do that? Normal swapping. Name dot char at index 0 is I, right? We'll go to where? Name that. Okay, but will the char at will the char at help us to assign name dot char at j is equal to, this is not assigning, right? This we cannot assign over here. So we need some logic by which we can assign. So let's say name of I. Name of I doesn't work for a string. Okay, it doesn't work for a string. So character at I, we need to put it at character at j. So how is that done? Let's say, so the syntactical part, I follow the lead code. So where is my lead code? So for the syntactical, we can go and check in the lead code how it is done. So yeah, you can. Okay, we need to convert it into a array of characters. Then yeah, that would be ideal. So instead of working on the string, what we can do is we can convert that into an array of characters. So string, we want it into an array of characters, right? So what we can do is we can convert this string into a array of characters. Okay, so let me take a character array. Okay, so let's take this name name dot to character array of function. What is the function name? Name dot. So now this name has been converted into a character array. Where is my I? So now let's check this out. Now my string R A J is entered into a character array, index 0, index 1, and index 2. I want I at 0, I want J at 2. So how will I do that? Okay, and we do like that. Name equal to no, this will not make sense. Okay, name dot character array. Now I want my integer I to be at 0 and my integer j to be at this name. So we need a character array str. Okay. Now we just converted this into an array of characters. So now where does the j should go at? Str dot length minus 1. So I is at 0 and j is at 2. Now till my I is less than or equal to j. Till my I is less than or equal to j. What? So is 0 less than equal to 2? True or false? True. So I take the character at I index and I replace it with the swap it. Okay, so I do the swapping. So how do we swap? Let's say you store R in a temp variable. So you store R in a temp variable. So what does temp contain now? What does temp contain? Temp contains R. The character at I is in temp, right? R. Now put the J at R. Put the character at J at index I. How will we do that? Str of J will go and str of I. So this becomes over here J. And now put this R at character at J. R is in what? Temp. So put the temp where? At, okay, makes sense. And now I will come forward and J will come backward. So we'll have these two tracks. So I plus plus and J minus minus. So J will come towards the left and I will go towards the right. So I plus plus and J minus minus. So I plus plus I becomes what? 1 and J minus minus J becomes 1. Is 1 less than equal to 1? True, right? So it will swap the character at I and J. So A will be swapped with A. If I had a even character string, okay, if I had a even character string, let's say if I had a string with even character Java, let's say if I had a even character string, now Let's dry run this code. Where would I be? 0. Where would j be? Okay, 3. Is 0 less than equal to 3? Okay, take the character at I and store in temp. What will become in temp? J. Character at j, put at character at I. Means this A comes over here, correct? And whatever is in temp, put it in j. So what goes into temp? J. Then next step, I plus plus. I comes over here and j comes over here. Is I less than equal to j? Yes. So character at I put into temp. What is in character at I? A. Character at I is A, right? And character at J is what? V. Put it where? At character at I. So V comes over here and put the temp at character at J. Put the temp at character at J. This comes over here. Correct? And then what? I plus plus and J minus minus. Is I less than equal to J? No, right? I is 2, J is 1. The loop will break and I have got my reverse string. So if I come out over here and if I sys out the str, let's check. What got it? Yes or no? So this we can use without using a separate string. Just converted that into an array and I'm using that. Okay, an array just points to the reference. It doesn't occupy new memory. It's just a reference to that original string. So this logic you can use. Okay, now if I want to check whether it is a palindrome or not. What is a palindrome string? If read from left to right and right to left, it is the same. So is mom palindrome? So how will we check that now? So this would be the best style. If you can use this logic and say it is palindrome, that would be the fastest way. Or else what you would do is you will reverse it and then compare with the original string, right? Like we have done over here. So if you want to check this palindrome, okay, let's comment this, comment this out both. So what you would do is you would reverse a string and then you will compare with the original string. What happened? Okay, I commented out the main also. So now this is my original string name, this is my reverse string. And then what you do? Compare. So if I do name dot, what is the function name? Compare to which string? Reverse name. And while comparing, if both the strings are same, it gives me a 0. It gives me a 0. So if I say name dot compare to reverse name, and if it gives me a 0, so it's a palindrome. Take this over here. So I can just list out its palindrome. But this I am using a separate string to do so. So now is Alice palindrome? Okay, okay. So while running, it gave me a red dot over here. I mean, there's some error over here. I have commented out the main. Okay, so keep an eye on the red dot towards the right. It says not palindrome. If I have taken any other simple madam, now madam reverse with madam is palindrome, but here I am using a extra string over here. I want to find a palindrome but not using extra string. Then what do we do? So we can adapt this logic. Then we can adapt this logic. So this is the reverse of string, right? I want to disturb this code. So let's take it again step by step. So where is I pointing to? Which index? Which character? Okay, so let's come back over here. If I want to check whether Java is palindrome, where is I pointing to? And where is J pointing to? Okay, so if this is confusing, let's take another string. If this is confusing you. So we have J up also, J down also. So I have a string called demo. So is demo string palindrome? So where is I pointing to? And where is J pointing to? Oh. These two characters should be same, right? These two characters should be same, right? If they are not same means, so just simple as that. So if the str of I is not equal to str of j, what will I do? So I will set a flag over here. So by default, I am assuming the string is palindrome. What am I assuming? It's a palindrome string. This is my assumption. But if they are not equal means it's not palindrome. So the flag being set to 1 indicates flat flag being set to 1 means it's not a palindrome. So will I search further now? D and O is not matching. Will I search further? So directly I'll break the loop. Okay. And then whatever we are doing below, we can carry out that. I plus plus and J minus. So the loop has to break, right? And then outside the loop, I will come and check the value of the flag. Outside the loop, I will come and check the value of the flag. So if the flag is 0 means, if the flag remains 0 till the end, it's a palindrome. And if the flag was set to 1 means it's an indication it is not a palindrome. So now I've commented out this. Okay, I'll comment out this logic of palindrome. I'll also change the spelling of palindrome over here so that when I get the output, I should know this is on this logic. Now let's check. So what is in the string now? Madam. What should it return? It should return palindrome. Okay. If I change anything over here, now is this palindrome? No, not palindrome. Getting it? This is faster. So if in this only in one iteration I can tell it is not a palindrome, right? But here I have to iterate to the entire string to tell whether it is not palindrome. So this logic over here to tell whether the string is palindrome or not, how many comparison it is doing, how many time the loop is iterating. So I'll take a loop counter over here. Integer loop counter equals to 0, and I'll increment the loop counter every time the loop iterates. And then I will tell the answer that it took these many iterations to tell whether the string is palindrome or not. So sys out number of iteration. So it took these many iterations on the loop counter to tell whether the string is palindrome or not. Okay. So let me comment out our new logic. Now the old logic. Okay. So is this string palindrome? So how many iterations it will take to tell me it is not palindrome? It will take 6 iterations and then tell me it is not palindrome. So if I would have a larger string, if I would have a larger string like a nut for a jar of tuna, this is a palindrome. This is a palindrome. It's a palindrome. A nut for a jar of tuna. A, a nut for a jar of. So if I save this, it is saying palindrome. It took how many iterations? 17. And if I add over here Z, is this palindrome? So it's a not palindrome, it's taking 18 iterations, right? And the same thing over here can be done. So if I'm getting a deal for 18K and the same stuff I'm getting at some another shop for 1K. So which one would you all like? So now if I run this code and check it, it will say not palindrome. Okay, I did not show the iteration count. No, I did not even maintain the count. So let's uncomment this and the number of time the iteration has run. So this do while loop, I'm putting at the start only, right? And then I will also show the number of iteration count. So how many times the while loop is running, we are showing that. So it is saying not palindrome. How many iterations? One iteration. And even if the number, if the string was palindrome, it would show in the half of the iteration. How many iterations? 9 iterations. It told me it's a palindrome. So that is the reason if the company always asks for time complexity and space complexity. So this is not taking extra string, so it's reducing the space complexity, and this is not taking extra iterations, so reducing time complexity. So you have to be conscious of writing a improved time complexity code and improved space complexity code. This the time complexity of this algorithm is O of n. So you mention it like this: time complexity is big O of n. It's for linear time complexity. This is called as linear time complexity. Means the number of characters, those many iteration it will take. So for to tell whether madam is palindrome, how many iterations this logic will take? 5 iterations. That is called as O of n time complexity. Means the number of elements, those many iterations it will take. That is called as linear time complexity. So this is working in O of n, and this is working in O of n by 2. So if there are 18 elements, how many iterations? So what is the relation of 9 with 18? So the time complexity of this algorithm means the maximum iteration. Okay, the maximum iteration it will take is O of n by 2, not more than that. So big O always gives the maximum number of iterations it will take. Not so my algorithm will never take more than n by 2 iterations in whatever circumstance. It will take less, but it will not go more than that. That is called as linear time complexity. So be aware of this term, and in the interview wherever it pops up, no, this argument, try to explain your algorithm with regards to the complexity. Sir, my fellow colleague who came for the interview also wrote the code, and you showed us his code, and the output was correct. And my code also you have seen. We both are giving the same output, but I can challenge that the complexity, the time complexity of my code. So if colleague A comes and writes this code, and colleague B, who is the challenger, says even we have written the same task and the output is also same, but if you check for the time complexity, means the number of iterations which have run in the background to get the code output, mine will be substantially, considerably lesser. In fact, half. So if you are getting a mobile phone, let's say S25 Ultra in India for 130, and the same you get in Dubai for 65,000, and if a cousin is coming from there, from where will you try to buy? Why it is giving the half the rate, right? And a cousin is coming means no tariff, no custom duty. He will just put in his pocket and he will get it. So you will say, I would rather buy two then. I'll buy two. Correct? So that is what the time complexity plays. So you have to be conscious that whenever you write a code, you have to make sure that it is time and space complex. Okay? Time complexity and space complexity you have to consider. Unwanted variables, if they can be eliminated, try to eliminate the unwanted variables. So if I can eliminate reverse name using some logic, I should do it. If there is a scenario where it is not possible, so you have to use a second variable, then space complexity is not much of a problem nowadays, because hard disk is getting cheaper and cheaper day by day. But time complexity is not a compromise. If time complexity, if you can reduce the means time means reduce the number of iterations, then always that code will be appreciated. And the interview, if I have multiple candidates, I will choose the candidate who has written the best time complexity code. So going forward, I will discuss this in detail. Time complexity, I guess this was all done in your academics. Yes, Shruti, asymptotic notation was done, if you remember. Remember asymptotic notation? तो समझ में आया था उस टाइम पे क्या होता है ये? बिग ओ, थीटा, याद है? ओमेगा. तो ये दो तो ज्यादा यूज में नहीं करते हम लोग, पर बिग ओ बहुत यूज करते हैं, और बिग ओ बताता है वर्स्ट केस, यानी वर्स्ट टू वर्स्ट इट विल टेक दिस मच, not more than that. So this algorithm, whatever string you give, if you give a very easy string, like this, it will show it in the first iteration only, right? But if you give a complex string, 3 times m at the start, 3 times m at the end, 2 times a at the start, 2 times a at the end, 1 times z at the start, 1 times z. So till now, this is looking like palindrome, right? Yes or no? And if I give a k over here, so this is palindrome or not palindrome? Palindrome. So how many iterations will it take to display this palindrome? Only 7 iterations, and the length of the string is 14 or 13, right? So be aware of the complexity, time complexity and space complexity. Make sense?